For many years, BT was the only choice of communications provider for millions of people in the UK, as they were the only one providing a telephone service. However, as a result of deregulation or unbundling of the cables that lie between the exchange and the end users, referred to as the local loop, all this has now changed, and there are numerous companies that offer every conceivable type of communications service. These companies have been referred to as service providers, other licensed operators, or even local loop unbundling operators. They're now called simply communications providers, or CPs for short. By law, Openreach must treat all communications providers equally, and as BT is also a communications provider, they will be treated the same too. All CPs have access to the local loop, and they can offer alternative choices of service for end users over cables that connect to Openreach's main distribution frame, or MDF. CPs install their equipment in BT exchanges and connect their equipment to the MDF, where they can provide whatever services their customers or end users require. Services provided by BT have historically been known by terms such as PSTN, ADSL and SDSL, and a host of others too numerous to mention here. The new communications providers are now providing similar services, and local loop unbundling, or LLU, encompasses all of them. If we take one of those terms, PSTN, this was an abbreviation for Public Switched Telephone Network and was used by BT to describe telephone services. But as BT is now just another communications provider, just like any other, it is more appropriate to use the term telephone service rather than PSTN to describe this service. As an end user, you would know you had a telephone service by the fact that you have a dial tone present when you pick up the phone. Dial tone is simply just a noise on the line to let you know you are connected to the exchange. Currently, there are a few terms that you will come across regularly which are used to describe the services provided to all end users. They are Metallic Path Facility, or MPF, which is a pair of wires the CP can use for data digital subscriber line services, or DSL for short. We also have Shared Metallic Path Facility, or SMPF. This is sometimes referred to as a line share, which, as its name implies, is a pair of wires that may have two CPs providing services over them. Typically, this might be a standard telephone service from one CP and a broadband service from another CP. Also provided by some CPs is MPF with number portability. This is where a CP provides both telephone and DSL services over an MPF line. On these circuits, the end user will usually keep their existing telephone number should they decide to transfer their service to another new CP. This is a typical MDF, and as you can see, it can be a busy place with people running jumpers and carrying out a variety of work-related activities. Naturally, safety is of paramount importance, especially where individuals are using hot soldering irons and sharp hand tools. All of the tools you use should be kept in good condition and replaced where necessary. This is especially important for the inserter tools, which can be responsible for poor connections if not in good working order. Jumper sticks like this are available to help you when running jumpers. Please don't be tempted to make your own versions from bits of wood or plastic. Always be aware that you should never leave hot soldering irons unattended or hand tools on the steps of ladders, on elephant boxes or on the floor. You must always wear the appropriate recommended personal protection equipment, or PPE, especially hand protectors and eye shields. Finally, wire might not appear to be very dangerous, but small waste sections like this can create serious slip hazards, so always ensure that you and others tidy up after yourselves. We've already mentioned the tools you might be required to use, but let's look at these in more detail. This style of connection block is quite old, but you'll still see it in use on almost every MDF in the UK. It requires the wire to be stripped, wrapped and then soldered to form a high quality connection. It is important that you follow the correct procedure, use the correct tools for each stage of the operation, and that the correct PPE is worn. This type of connection doesn't require soldering. These metal tags cut through the insulation on the wire to form a connection. It is called an insulation displacement connector, or IDC. It does, however, require the correct type of tool to insert and remove the wires, so ensure you have the correct type for the block you're working on.